The title of this video is, Can a Senior's Wages Be Garnished? So my name is Eric Olson. I'm the director of HELPS, and that helps lower income and moderate income seniors who have debt they can't afford to pay. I've been an attorney for 42 years. So I want to address this issue. A client of HELPS just got off the phone with her from Arkansas call and upset because she got a writ of garnishment and she was receiving Social Security, and then she'd gone back to work and was working at Lowe's. Okay. And Capital One or someone had gotten a judgment against her, and for somehow they found out where she worked, and so they filed a writ of garnishment. And she was upset, didn't know what to do, was worried. So let me talk about this, and I'll explain why I told her she didn't need to worry and why you don't need to worry. Okay? So there's a federal law that's effective in all 50 states that protects $217.50 net per week in wages from garnishment, no matter where you live. Now, some states have laws to protect more than that, but if your state doesn't have a law that protects more wages than that, the federal law takes effect, $217.50 net. And so the first thing I asked her, I said, well, you work at Lowe's, they have a judgment against you. I said, and it's a writ of garnishment. Who'd they serve it on? Did they serve it on your bank? And she said, what other name is on there? And she says, Lowe's. Do you work at Lowe's? Yeah, she works at Lowe's. Next thing I said, how often do you get paid? And she said, I think she said every other week. Well, what do you normally bring home? $300 every other week. And I said, well, okay, $217.50 net. That's after taxes and other withholdings, not a voluntary contribution that you make for something, but government withholdings on your check. $217.50 net per week is protected under federal law from garnishment. Okay, so that would be $435 per month. I mean, every 2 weeks. So you could make $100 an hour and work 2 hours a week, and all your income would be protected from garnishment. And I said, do you make more than $435? And she says, no. And I said, you have nothing to worry about. Well, would I need to do anything? I said, no, you don't need to do anything. That writ of garnishment was sent to Lowe's, the employer. And I guarantee you, Lowe's has a department that deals with this stuff. And they're going to see your wages, and they're going to fill out a little form, send it back to them, and say you don't make enough. They're not going to take anything out of your pay. I told her, if something does happen, you need to let us know. We'll get it resolved, but nothing will happen. I said, you do not need to worry. And she asked, well, do many of HELP's clients go to, or many of them working? And I said, some of them choose to go back to work. I tell clients, if they want to go back to work, that's great. And I explain how their wages are protected. Okay. Now, I also tell them in some states, the wages protections are more. Like, for example, in Texas, you can't garnish wages. California has a wage exemption like $600 a week. I think Washington is similar, and other states have higher exemptions on wages. So if you're worried about your state, you could always search the name of your state and then type in how much in wages protected from garnishment. And there'll be websites that pop up and give you the number. It can get a little complicated once in a while, but if you can't find an answer or nothing, know this, that no matter where you are, $217.50 net per week is protected from garnishment. Now, if all of a sudden you went back and working a whole lot more and they found out where you were working, I mean, you could file bankruptcy. We talk about that, but most of the time you don't need to worry about that. If our clients go back to work, there's no place a creditor can go really to find out where you work. They'd have to find out from some other source. So you go back to work, you don't need to worry about, them knowing where you work to trying to garnish your wages. And so then I asked her, I said, you have one bank account, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, and you get like $1,700 in Social Security, correct? She said, yeah. I said, well, as long as the amount in your bank account is less than twice the amount of your monthly Social Security, which would be 17 times 2 is $3,400. If they were to garnish your bank account, they would get nothing, no matter what money is in there or where it came from. The bank, so if there's a garnishment on a bank account, the bank is instructed to look at the account and see if federal funds went into there, like Social Security. They times that times two. Each month, the monthly amount times two, that amount is protected automatically from garnishment. Okay, regardless of what funds are in there. And her answer was, like everyone else tells me, well, I never have more than that amount in my account, Mr. Olson. I said, well, you don't need to worry. So I got her calmed down, and she said, well, this says I have to fill out this form. And I said, well, I think if you read it carefully, the form that is for the bank to fill out that form and return that writ. You don't need to do anything, okay? And then a lot of times they'll use a form that you might have to do something, but not in this instance. So I guess the important message of this video is if you're a senior and you want to go back to work, have at it. You can make $217.50 net per week that's protected from garnishment. Probably make more than that. They're not going to find out that you're making more than that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. This person was 74 years old, and I said, I'm 72. It's healthy to work. Do you like working there? And she said, yeah, I love working at Lowe's. I said, keep working there. No, nothing to worry about. So that's the message. Seniors' income is protected from garnishment, just like a younger person's is. Okay. Now, once again, states might have different rules that protect a higher amount depending on what state you live in. And you can Google that to find out. But if you're only making $217.50 net per week in wages, that's like what, $935 or something like that per month net, then you don't need to worry about it at all. So that's our message today. What helps is we represent seniors that owe debt they can't afford to pay in order to stop collectors from harassing them. We tell our clients, or we tell people, your income is protected. It can't be taken from you. You don't need to pay debt you can't afford to pay. That money is available for your needs, like your food, your housing, your medicine, that kind of stuff. And if you don't have to deal with collectors, what helps does, there's a federal law called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. We represent seniors and disabled persons that owe debt, so creditors have to leave them alone. Okay? We represent people ongoing, literally as long as they want us to. We don't turn anyone away that needs the help we provide. Cost is minimal or free. And we don't want anyone to worry. And if you ever have any questions, you can get on our website over here, wherever it is there, www.helpsishere.org, and you can look at some more of our YouTube videos to learn about helps and what we do. And if you don't need helps, please share what we do with others. We're the only law firm in the nation that does what we do, and it's very needful. I talk to people all day long that are stressed, seniors that are stressed and worried and scared. And when they learn their financial rights, they're relieved, like this lady was. She was totally relieved. And I told her, I said, if you ever have a question or problem, your client of helps, call us back whenever you want. We'll talk to you. So you guys have a great day, and we'll see you later.